Pump up the volume. It's time for the mind-numbing experience that is the Ghost and Clover Show. To find links of all of Clover's media content, visit www.clovertac.com. And to find links to all of Ghost media content, visit www.ghosttacticalproductions.com. What is going on, Clover Tac crew and Ghost Squad? What is happening this wonderful Sunday afternoon? Welcome to the Clover and Ghost Show, the Ghost and Clover. It makes no difference. We're both magically delicious. So let's say, what's up, Clover? How you doing, my man?
I am well.
Yeah. It's been a while since we did one of these, so we couldn't remember who hosted the last one. So I have no idea. It's been probably a month or so at least, maybe longer than that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's been longer than that.
Yeah, that's okay. I know I've been out of pocket the last couple, month and a half or so with work. It's been nuts, but it's nice to be able to get this done and have a good time with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's always fun, and there's usually a cool chat going on too out there.
Yeah. This is kind of the one time that you and I both kind of can do a free-for-all and not have to worry about structure. It's just us kind of talking, and you do kind of like that on Monday nights with your MOA Mondays, where it's Q&A from the audience and all that, but this is kind of the only one that I get to do, and so I enjoy doing it with you. So I enjoy it. This is fun.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's see here. Let's see who's out there on the Gun Channel side. Obviously, we are streaming live on YouTube as always, and always simulcast over on GunChannels.com. And looks like it's kind of slow today on Gun Channels. Not sure if there's any issues over there, or it's just no one wants to listen. Either way, it's all good. But on the YouTube side, Ozzy was out there first, and the Grim, the Tactical Reaper was out there, and Mohawk Boy, and Gunpowder Beauty, and Tardot. What's going on? Nate's out there, said this should be fun. Mateo's out there. Jacob Holland saying, what's up, Jacob? How are you? Mateo says, perfect timing. Just leaving Knob Creek. Should be home for this starts. There you go.
Oh, nice.
Unknown Years out there. And let's see here. They were talking about cooking. Of course, they've got to have their food chat out there. Mad Sexy's out there. Troll Daddy's out there. And he says they do this 4 times a week. Not this particular one. We might be on shows, but we don't do this one.
Right.
And they're saying Robo Ghost and DJ Ghost and all that. Yeah, I've been messing around with some Adobe Audition, trying to get some stuff done for the podcast, and it's fun. Kingpin's out there. Scott P's out there. Georgia Rebels out there. Let's see here. So give it a few minutes for the notifications to come out. What's you been going on? You been doing anything this weekend, or anything special, or just hanging out?
Nah, just sort of chilling. Trying to get some things taken care of. It is well, hey, what am I gonna say? Oh, International Podcast Day today.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see that. I saw your post about that.
National Podcast Day to everybody. Go check out all kinds of podcasters. All kinds. There's mine, there's Ghost, there's Black Man with a Gun. I know there's Rick's Life as I See It. He does his podcasts. We Like Shooting. What's the one that's on Facebook? The Concealed Carry Nation?
Yeah, concealedcarry.com has their podcasts Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of good stuff out there. It's a good day to discover podcast if you haven't.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm not really sure what I must have missed something previously in the chat. So, Dog Body, what's up, dog? How you doing, man? Let's see here. Nope. That's anything on the news. Nope. Rick Rocks. Yeah, I know you said Rick Rocks. Yeah, yesterday was fun. I don't get to jump in on Rick's very often, especially on a Saturday, because I'm at work, and so yesterday it kind of slowed down a little bit. And got maybe hop on like the last half of it or so, but no, I really like what Rick does. And what's up, Philo? 1% in the hizzy. Gizzard Gary is here. But no, it's gonna be interesting. 'Cause I think what is it? Wednesday is his last show from Rhode Island. Then he's moving to Indiana, so that'll be fun for him. They let's see here. Does anyone have a Gander Mountain near them? We used to have one about an hour from me, but it closed down. I think Gander Mountain closed down. Did they not?
Yeah, they were bought out by Bass Pro, and then they're changing over
something. But the one in Miami actually just closed down. They didn't.
Gander. Well, may not. I know the one closest to me is in the process of reopening. Is like Gander Outdoor World or Gander World or Gander Outdoors or something like that. I can't even remember the signage on the building now, but the last time I went through there, which wasn't too terribly long ago, maybe a couple of weeks, there were actually cars in the parking lot, and I thought they were open, and then I had read later they weren't open yet. They were in the process of, obviously, I guess they're remodeling and doing some other stuff, but looks like it's going to open back up as some variation, I guess, of Gander / Bass Pro by the time it's done. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Ours closed down. I was up maybe Branson or somewhere of the summertime. Might have been in Oklahoma City. I'm not real sure. We were somewhere, and they were having a kind of a going on a business thing for Gander, and man, you could get some seriously good deals.
Yeah, you couldn't do that here. By the time it got to any kind of percent off, there wasn't anything left, and they had to get to about 20% off before it was retail priced anyway.
Let's see here. Scott P says he almost bought a Glock today. Local shop had a 19X used for $4.99, but apparently at that store that hasn't been on the shelf for 2 weeks, you can't put it on layaway. That sucks. That's not a bad price at all, though. Well, hopefully it's on the shelf for another couple weeks, and then you can go put it on layaway. That's best of all worlds.
I can understand that, especially on a smaller shop.
Yeah, sure.
Turnaround is key. I've actually witnessed the shop go out of business, and I attribute part of it to the amount of layaways that they took in. They were very, very generous people, but I would say probably 90% of what they sold ended up being layaway, and the payments trickled in. And if you can't flip that money, at least what you've got into something and get that back almost immediately, then how do you put that back into the other stuff, right? So got to be real careful with the layaway thing.
Yeah, I know that, and I don't know what the typical thing is. I've actually never put one on layaway, although I thought about it. But here at my local gun shop, you had to put half of it down, and then you can spread the rest of it over.
Yeah, see, a lot only get like 10 or 20%, and I mean, good Lord, that don't even come close to covering the cost they got in it, so they could turn around and put their principal right back into something else.
Exactly.
But and this one also had extended terms, man. They went like 9 months, or I don't remember, but like 9 or a 10-month layaway or something crazy.
I might be wrong. Don't quote me on this, but I want to say that my local shop is half down, and you have 6 months. Yeah. So if you owe $400 more or whatever, then you'll have 6 months to pay that off. But yeah, I know another guy that says you could put down. It might have been 20% down, and then you owed $100 a month until it's paid off. Well, hell,
yeah.
I mean, if you're buying a $1,200 AR or something, you gotta be paying on that for a year. And I don't know any shop that's doing good business if you're letting people pay out something for over a year. I get you help out the customer, but you're gonna go out, like you said, you're gonna go out of business eventually.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it from the numbers. I mean, let's go to the math. Let's say that you sell whatever Acme widgets, and you've got 6 of those in your store, and they're $100 a piece. They cost you $50, and you require 10% down or 20% down. Let's say $20, right? Well, you would have to put 3 of those on layaway to buy another one. Well, you're only replacing one of three that you now have locked back into layaway. So look at how that depletes your inventory, right?
Yeah. Now I wonder more about this. I wonder the smart business move could be if you own a gun shop to only put a percentage of your inventory that where you can sit there and say, this gun's for layaway or this gun's available for layaway, and not put everything available. Only certain selected items are available for layaway.
Yeah.
That could.
And I think that's what he was getting out there with, 2 weeks. I mean, once it's been out for 2 weeks, if nobody has snatched it up, then sure, we'll put it on layaway. But, yeah, and I don't know. I mean, that's weird, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I can see how that's construed as weird, but depending on the financial situation, how much business that particular establishment does, a lot of different things. I mean, I can see that being a reasonable way for them to handle layaways for sure. Now, one thing that I find kind of cool is there's several companies out there now that finance, which is weird. Basically, you get a line of credit with them, and you buy your firearms. It kind of works kind of like literally like a credit line at a bank, and
that's a scary thought though,
and that's really weird because, you've got a 4473. It's not like they could repo it or anything really. So, yeah, I've always kind of been curious as to how that whole thing worked, but never brave enough to try to sign up for it and try to use it.
Well, unknown user out there, on the very last day of September, which will be the last day that the super chats go to the Semper Fi fund. Excuse me. He sends a $5 super chat out there, and he says, Clover has put me in the poorhouse, talking me into buying all these guns. He knows I have a weak constitution. Beretta 92S arrived Wednesday. Well, at least you're buying some good guns. He got really good,
He got a good pistol at a great price, and he's out there whining. So I don't know.
You got good taste if you're getting Beretta.
And on top of that, he dropped $5 to talk about it. So
exactly. So what's he bitching about?
Come on.
D Tim says, "Oh crap, a store credit from a gun store? I'd be in deep doo doo." I think we all would be.
That's why I'm not going to throw a link or anything out there for the ones I know that do that. And that's because of I might feel responsible if I did that. So I'm just saying those things exist.
Yeah, and Philo makes a good point. He says he must admit that one handgun a month has saved his bank account a few times. I think we've all been in that situation where you get one, and while you're there getting that one, you see another one. You're like, oh, man. That's great. Or it came in used and you don't know how long it's going to be there. And yeah, I think we've all wanted to buy several at a time before, haven't we?
I have. I've bought like 12 in a weekend before.
At a gun show or how did
Academy sale at Academy.
Oh my.
I went in the Yieldies over and under I bought. That was a not scheduled purchase, or not what would be the word? Not scheduled, but expected or whatever. Academy Sports and Outdoors. I don't know what part of the country they're in, but
yeah, they're here. I love
it. They run some wicked sales sometimes. They ran a sale. I kid you not. They ran a sale and they had a Beretta, the Beretta 92, the black one, right? Not the Beretta. I'm sorry, the Taurus version.
The 90, the
Taurus. And I would already,
the
PT92. Yeah. PT92, the black one. I forget the model escapes me. AF PT92 AF maybe. But anyway, ran it for like $229.99 or something.
Oh my.
And I'm like, okay, I'm there. And it was thumbing through, the specials. I mean, and this wasn't Black Friday. This was just like I don't even remember. I don't remember when it was. I'd have to go back and check receipts and see if it was a holiday or something special, but it didn't seem like it was. But anyway, they had that. And then they had, I've never had, I've told the story many times about the first rifle being the Marlin Model 60 and ended up getting rid of it, and we'll never get it back, blah blah blah. Well, I have a bunch of older model, used ones, collectible ones, stuff like that, but didn't have one of the newer models, and they put the newer ones on sale for like $109.99, or I want to say, or something like that, for a freaking Marlin Model 60. So I'm like, okay, those I'm going and I'm buying those too. Well, I get there, and that Yildiz shotgun, it's like a clearance thing on it. There's another shotgun there. There's another couple of pistols there. There's another couple of rifles. Anyway, I walked out with like 5 or 6 that day, and then went back the next day because that's as much as I could put on a debit card at one time. Went back the next day and got 5 or 6 more. I mean, it was a super sale, and they were doing a clearance thing on top of it. So it was it was insane. And I mean, I think I averaged like, it come out to like maybe less than $300 a firearm is what I paid for all those. And you're talking about some of them. I mean, MSRP was, easily 500 plus.
Oh yeah. The Academy, I had a really good experience with Academy. This is probably 3 years ago, 3 years ago, probably 3 years ago. It's my daughter's freshman year in college. She was still playing softball, and we were somewhere wherever their team was playing. And I remember it being really, really cold, and we weren't expecting it to be that cold, and it's April, but we weren't expecting it to be that cold. So we were trying to find an academy to go get some extra layers and stuff. So went over there, and I just see these signs, sale. And I said, well, hell, let's just go check out, see what they got, So I go over there, and I bought 2. They had a Glock 19 Gen 3, which is my favorite generation. They had a Glock 19 for $325 or $329 or something like that. Wow. Brand new. Yes. And they also had, I picked up one of my MP Sports AR-15s. They had that for $399. And so basically for $700, I picked up an AR and a Glock 19, an M&P AR and a Glock 19 for about $700. And I don't know if they just mistyped the prices or what. I didn't ask. I really didn't care. But I picked up those 2 just because, I mean, hell, I didn't need them, but who needs everything we have? We got them because we got a good deal on them or whatever.
Yeah, no. It's not need. I mean, I bought 12 because I wanted them, and it was a good deal.
Exactly.
To do with need. Yeah.
I mean, when I saw the M&P, the AR-15 for $399, I was like, interesting. I wonder if they got the price tag on that one wrong, And then I looked down, and they had the Glock 19. This is the Gen 3. This is before the Gen 4, so it must have been a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, whenever it was. And had it for $329. I was like, wow, okay, these people are idiots. I mean, I don't know if they just made a mistake or what, but I'm pretty sure they might have lost some money on both of those.
Nah, they don't. I mean, we know what Glock what the cost is in a Glock, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, especially if you've ever read that book.
Right.
But yeah, if you do any kind of homework, you know that. The way they're set up, I mean, is low cost production, and then Academy is going to get a good deal, and Glock is all about, large bulk, lot purchases and agreements.
Oh, and they're going to get better discounts.
They're at that kind of money. I mean, Academy's making $100 a piece off of them probably very easily.
So, and they're ordering 10,000 of those things, for
10 or tens of thousands even.
Right.
Because you got to realize they'll enter into a shipping obligation with them, and they'll say, okay, we want 8,000, and then 2 months later we want another 6,000, and then 10 months later, by 10 months down the road, send us 12,000 and whatever, and it may end up being 50,000 by the time the contract or whatever is said and done. And then they schedule their sales around the times that they are getting in a new shipment or talking about to the warehouses, not to the stores.
Yeah.
When that contractual obligation is coming due, and then they'll a lot of times they'll list things on sale just to blow what they've got left out. That way the new ones come in and they're not so overwhelmed with them.
And you're also trying to liquidate, the initial investment that you had. It might have been a 3, 4, 5 month investment on some of those firearms. Liquidate them, make it even a little bit's worth than, sitting there on the rack doing nothing,
Yeah. Yep.
Midnight out there has a question for us both. He says, what's the difference between a heart and thumb on a vid? Is a heart better? Also, is there a way to thumb down on Instagram? Now, I'm not so sure you can actually heart a video. You can heart a comment. I might be wrong about that, but
I think that's
I think all that is really to show the person that you really, really like their comment. I think it's an engagement thing. I don't think it's anything that changes the analytics, but Clover might have some more information on that.
Yeah, the heart counts as engagement the same as a thumb up would. The main difference is when you thumb up, if they've got their notifications, depending on how they've got their notifications and stuff set, all it's going to show is someone liked their comment. If you actually heart it, it actually tells them that you hearted their video, their comment, right? So they actually know that, hey, because just the thumb up could be anybody. It could be a random person that liked their comment. So it just lets them know that you, as the channel owner, the creator, whatever, are there paying attention. So yeah, there is an added level of engagement, I guess, between you and the person commenting there.
Right.
As far as the Instagram thing, no. I mean, other than tagging them in it and saying, hey, this sucks, or
unfollowing them,
yeah, right. Not really.
Yeah.
Or troll them like the troll daddy does,
Yeah, some people are better than others, but it is what it is. Patriot says, do you guys use a Winchester brown box? Supposed to be service grade ammo for the military. Just picked up 500 of the 9mm for $89. I have not ever shot in the Winchester brown box. Have you?
No, I stay away from Winchester as much as possible.
I try to.
I really do like the Winchester PDX-1, for self-defense. Really like that stuff. And then there's another, I can't think of I can't think of offhand. There's another Winchester as far as for personal defense. And then in rimfire, the rimfire and actually shotgun too. Oh man, my mind is totally blank right now on the ones that I get, but they've got a certain branding to them. Dang it, Super X. It took me a while. Super X, Winchester Super X. There's a certain 22 long rifle in Winchester Super X, and also 17 HMR that I will, and 22 mag for that matter. Talking about rimfire, that I'll pick up. That I like more so for hunting application. And then with some of the Super X stuff, if you're dealing with shotgun shells, I'm okay. But outside of that, not a big fan of Winchester ammo across the board.
Yeah, Rupan says he put 200 of the black box through his Glock 19, worked great. He said their rep was a total jerk, so he didn't buy any more. Just had great prices at the time. So, I mean, yeah, you're doing $89 for 500 rounds. You can't get, like Winchester white box, is can be more expensive than that. So,
yeah.
The only Winchester that I ever use is if I'm doing a review on a gun or I'm putting it through the gauntlet, quote unquote. I'll use that, or I use some Remington range stuff, but I'm not a huge Winchester fan. I tell you, if you're talking, when I say that, I'm gonna say inexpensive ammo. I'm not gonna call it cheap because it's actually really good ammo for $13, $14 for 50 rounds of 9mm. I'm talking 9mm here. So if you're looking for really good ammo that I've never had any problems with, that runs through pretty much anything and for a good price, Blazer Brass is some really good inexpensive ammo. I don't know if you've ever used that or not, Clover.
Yeah, and that's federal. So that's what I was fixing to say. When it comes to factory ammo, if you're talking mainstream, and mainstream is basically, I don't even really view Hornady as mainstream because Hornady has so many different variations that they make and other stuff. So, you've got pretty much got Remington, Federal, and then Winchester, right? As far as Papa Bear companies, anyway. And I view Federal as probably the top dog, and they do your CCI, they do your laser, and stuff like that. So, yeah, all the way. Now, interesting thing with ammo, if for those that caught the lawn chair pop anniversary, and if you didn't, jump over to the channel and check that out if you want. But I picked up a box of the Remington UMC in 220 grain subsonic.
Okay.
And that stuff was absolutely horrible.
Really?
Yes, it would not. I could not get it to strip from the mag and chamber.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I could single load it, but I could not get it to strip from the mag and chamber.
Now was that the lawn chair pop the other day?
Yeah, that's what I used for the lawn chair pop, but I had to like single
It
shot.
wasn't the mag at all. It was the ammo.
It was not the mag.
Okay.
And the projectiles were tarnished like beyond belief. I mean, they were not like bright coppery, you know what I mean? Pretty. They were like all brown, tarnished, looked like, World War II surplus ammo or something. And then come to find out, I was going through the box, and in all of this, I showed it on the live stream there, but they had different primers in them. So
some of them, they were,
some of them had silver primers, and some of them had gold primers,
exactly,
or brass primers. But that color, what I mean, is a different color. But so I have taken pictures of my receipt, pictures of the barcode and lot number, and linked that live stream, and I sent that to Remington Ammunition. Told them, I wasn't happy, and I'm not griping because I want a bunch of free crap or anything else, but check this out. Here's what's going on. You might want to check this lot number and see what's going on, because I cut the seal. I broke the seal on that box of ammo. It was not
was it already broken?
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not like that. It was a return. They don't return ammo at Academy, first of all, and that's where I got it. There's no returns. They tell you that it's checkout. There's no returns on ammo. So it's not like somebody returned it with crap in the box that it wasn't supposed to be there, right? And like I said, it had a, whatever security seal, whatever thing on it that I cut. So I don't know. It had to have come from the factory. I don't know if it was when they were changing. It was one of those lots that's right in the middle of changing over equipment and supplies, because I know that happens. But your really good manufacturers will completely change a lot number. They will basically shut everything down when it gets to that point, change everything over, and then fire back up under a new lot number. And apparently with the UMC, I guess they run those machines 24/7, 365, and just throw whatever components in as they need them. I don't know.
Well, Midnight says
it was $15 a box too. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't high dollar, ammo, and so I don't got a huge complaint. But the other thing, it was wildly inaccurate. I mean, I was at 50 yards on 6-inch steel, and I would hit one and not hit the other, and then hit two and not hit. I think I hit 7 out of 10 or something with it, which ain't bad. But I mean, come on, at 50 yards at 6 inches, I should have hit every one of those. So, I don't know.
There that he his 9 will stovepipe Remington UMC about every 10 rounds or so. And it's the only ammo that he'll do that with. So who knows? Yeah. There might be something to it. Now we're gonna get a little nerdy real quick. Patriot says, when is the best time to drop a new video so that it lasts longer on your recent activity? And I want to give you my take, and Clover will probably have a different take and probably a more educated and more reliable take, but I want to give you my amateur take. If you're able to go into your analytics and see when a lot of your the time at which a lot of your views are coming on, I would suggest, if you can do that, like if it says like Tuesday at 10 o'clock at night is when you're getting 80% of your views, then I'd put it out at Tuesday at 8 o'clock, a couple hours ahead of when your peak time is. So you do get a few of those, and then you'll be there for your prime watching. So Whatever your analytics will tell you that the best time of day that you're getting the most views for it, I'd put out a couple hours before that to kind of let it get into the system, let the algorithm kind of do its thing for a couple hours, and then it's ready to go for prime time as far as when you're getting most of your views. Clover, what do you say about that?
I say good luck with that. I don't know that in the grand scheme of things much matters anymore. And the main reason is I don't see, you've got a lot of, in our niche, it's not that way. In our niche, got a lot of people that work, got a lot of people that have lives, they have families, they have things to do. They show up for lives when they can. But they watch an awful lot or listen podcast or watch an awful lot in replay, or that kind of thing. They don't, and me, I'm included in this. And this is why I say this. I keep a list of things. It's like, okay, I got to go catch up on this or watch this. Right. And I think a lot of people in our little section and niche are the same way. Now, not so with the folks that watch Jake Paul and all the other stupid crap. They're fanboys and fangirls, most kids. And as soon as it's out, boy, they're clicking on it. Right. And they're even waiting on it. A lot of times they're waiting on those videos to drop. So, because of that, and because of your different time zones, I mean, you've got a 3-4 hour, delay there in time zone anyway.
Yeah.
I think for some channels you figure out eventually, and I think it takes a pretty high, I don't want to say sub count in the sense of putting a lot of emphasis that sub count is important, but I think it requires a high percentage of engaged subscribers, let's put it that way, to be able to really nail down what's the best time. I think early on, until you're getting, probably 5,000 subs, and I'm talking about a pretty high engagement rate with 5,000 subs. I really don't think you're going to be able to nail down a good time. For some people, it's going to be, late evening. For others, it's going to be early morning. Typically midday, across the board is not going to be a good time. Let's say from 10 in the morning to probably 5 in the evening, somewhere in there. For most people, doesn't seem to be a very good time.
It's just like the primetime shows that come on. There's a reason why there's a primetime show. They don't come on primetime shows at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's a reason out there. Now, I think you also have to remember also, Patriot, is depending on which night it is, there might be some, if Yankees got a show or someone's got a show that's pulling, 500 to 1,000 viewers and all that on their show. You really want to drop a video during that podcast or whatever. So there's always that, I would say, between 6 and 8 is always a good time. And even if they don't watch it right then, they can come back. But the last thing you want to have happen, this is my opinion, is put something out at 11 o'clock in the morning. So that by the time that people get home that night at 6 o'clock at night and they've had dinner, so now it's 7 o'clock and they're starting to either watch their favorite shows or they're watching TV or whatever, they have forgotten that you had a notification 8 hours earlier. So just be careful about that. I have seen a lot of people say that a good strategy is to drop one about 6 o'clock in the morning. And the reason why I've heard people say that is when you get up in the morning and you check your phone for YouTube notifications, it's going to be the first one you see. So there's that side of it too. So I don't know. I've never done it before though.
Or late at night. Sometimes I'll see a Hickok release at not that I go watch that stuff, but you know, I'm subbed, and for whatever reason, even though I don't watch it, I still get the notifications a lot of times. Yeah, sometimes I'll see a drop at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning from them. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's awful early. What's going on there? But again, they've got that certain percentage, first of all, the high subscriber count, certain percentage of engagement that I'm sure, hopefully, I guess they would be, as big of a channel as they are and everything else. Hopefully they're looking at analytics and trying to play the game. Right. So, they see something in there that thinks it's beneficial. So, anything, it's kind of like we were told when we were talking about emailing and dealing with industry people and stuff like that. Sending an email like very late at night, very early in the morning, you know,
First,
puts it kind of right there at the top of their, when they check their email in the morning, kind of puts it right there at the top in the mix.
I always do that when I send emails, but I've never
Yeah,
dropped it 4 in the morning, so I don't know.
yeah, dropping a video could work in a similar way, because it's going to put it kind of right there at the forefront of their notifications.
Now, Jacob Holland out there says, how's the Glock 20? And I kind of put it out there in the chat, but we can discuss a little bit. I'm not a big 10 millimeter pistol fan. That's just me. That's my personal opinion.
For shame, sir. For shame.
I know. But I did have a Glock 20, and you're going to even hate me even more, but I didn't necessarily like it. I had a buddy of mine that really liked it, and we traded a Glock 7. I traded him for a Glock 17. Just because I like the 17 a lot as well. So I traded. I know he got the financial better side of that deal probably, because it was basically a brand new Glock 20 versus a used Glock 17. But I got what I wanted. He got what he wanted. Like I said, I don't have anything against it, but I've never been in a pistol platform. I've never really been a big 10 millimeter fan. But what say you, Clover Tack?
I'm glad that you're a Marine, because otherwise that would be grounds to revoke your man card. Being a Marine, that exempts you from that ever having that happen. But 10 millimeters awesome. First of all, 40 sucks all day. Why would you take a awesome cartridge like a 10 millimeter and camp it down? As far as the 20, the Glock 20 is in my opinion, is one of the pistols that handles a 20. I mean, handles a 20. I got to slow down here. Handles the 10 millimeter very, very well. For me, I mean, in that Glock 20, I mean, it mitigates your jump very well, and I think it has to do with the size of the pistol, quite honestly, because that 20 it's a pretty honking pistol, right? I
never say anything bad about it. I love the pistol.
The other thing about the 20, the Glock 20, I was not a big Glock fan until I shot the 20. It was like, oh, the Glock 20 is what converted me over to, I'm like, okay, I can handle the Glocks now, you know. And then of course I got a 20, and then I got a 22. It was a police trade in. The 22 freaking sucks. It's a 40. I don't like a 40 on that frame. It was so many things with the 22 I hated. And eventually that's one of very, very few I've gotten rid of. That's one I eventually did get rid of. It ended up being the only 40 I had, and you know, got an offer on it that you know, as Brando would say, I couldn't refuse, right? But got rid of it. But you know, I've got a 17L. And of course I've got the 42. Trying to think what other Glocks I've got. I can't even think now, but I've gotten several since then. Now I'm a little picky with Glock. I'm not a Glock fanboy, I wouldn't say. I definitely appreciate Glocks, and I definitely love the Glocks I've got. But I'm sort of picky when it comes to a Glock. I think the caliber versus the frame makes a huge difference when you're talking Glock.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
That gets us off into a whole other conversation that doesn't deal with 10 millimeter, but yeah.
No. Now Mateo says 40 sucks. Since when does 180 grain at 1100 feet per second suck?
Can you ever do a 10 millimeter? It does. Why would you want the same? Why would you want the same snap with the worst trajectories? And yeah, forget that.
Now, if you're looking at the Glock 20, and then there's talk in there also, but it's very true. There are some conversion barrels that come into play as well. So it could be a pretty versatile platform there. But I'm the same way. I am not a Glock fanboy per se. I love Glock. I appreciate what Glock is, and that is a phenomenally performing handgun every time you need it to be a performing handgun. They are not pretty. If you're into flash and all that, then you're never going to like a Glock. Me personally, I don't care what my gun looks like, as long as it feels good, it shoots well, and it's reliable. And I think that's one thing that Glock has really put out there is they're not interested in looking all flashy and good and all that. They're interested in being a reliable, performing handgun. So, you know, I think everyone knows me. I'm a Glock and Smith and Beretta guy. And I'm not saying I don't own other guns, but for the most part, those are the three. And I don't know if it's because of the designs, and maybe to unconsciously, it very well could, or subconsciously, it could be that I just am drawn to maybe the looks of a Smith & Wesson or the looks of a Glock, because I seem to really like most of theirs. You know, you look at like a Springfield XD. To me, I don't like the way it looks. Now, I do like the way that they shoot, and but I don't like the way they look. But some people love the looks of the Springfield XD, series.
See, I was really into. I got one of the very first Springfield XD9s that came out.
Yep.
I was really into that pistol, and to this day, man, that needs to go on the lawn chair pop list one day, I guess. Even though it is a Springfield. I mean, you got to realize this was the very first. One of the very first ones that came out when they first introduced the XD9s. It's been a phenomenal pistol. Many people have borrowed it to take their CHL with. They shoot it well. I shoot it well. And it's weird because that's one I shoot the least now, but it's one I shoot the best naturally. And by naturally, I mean like run and gun. If I was ever going to do IDPA or something like that, I would honestly probably use that XD9, at least starting out, right? Until I could afford to, maybe get something, better or tricked out or whatever. Because it's just such a cool pistol as far as me being able to naturally shoot the thing that I could literally, do a Dukes of Hazzard slide across the hood of a car while I was firing, right, and still get center mass every single time. And it's just, I don't know what it is. It's something about the grip angle and the way the sights line up. And now the newer XDs, the ones that get the grip zone and whatever the crap, and I'm not a fan of those. I'm just not. They've changed them up since those originals, and I'm really not a fan. But I was a big fan of that XD9. I love that XD9.
That's a great
the Glock 20. Going back to the Glock 20, the Glock 20 changed that. The Glock 20 really, it moved me away from that XD9, and did bring me into the Glock world a little more.
Yeah. I've got a couple Springfields, and I have not bought one in a couple years, but it had nothing to do with the whole Springfield thing. So it is what it is. I've got a couple Springfields, and like I said, I've never had an issue with a Springfield gun, so I really like it. I don't necessarily agree with some of their politics, or at least the board of directors politics, or the CEO's politics, but we've already had the discussion on boycotts and all that, so let's not go down that rabbit hole again. But what I was saying, the whole point I was saying is everyone has a certain style of gun that they're naturally drawn to as far as aesthetics, what a gun looks like and all of that. So, a lot of people can't stand how a Glock looks. I kind of like the way a Glock looks. Some people can't stand the Beretta M9 or the 92, whatever you want to call it. I love that gun. Everyone knows that the 92/M9 is my favorite handgun that's ever been made. And that's, I don't apologize for that. I understand there's a lot of people that can't stand them, but that's just me. For some reason, that gun looks beautiful to me. It fits great, whatever. And then Smith, I know that you have issues with Smith and don't really like Smith or never have liked Smith a whole lot.
Auto loaders. Let's be. I don't want to get a lot of Smith revolver hate out there now.
Okay. All right. You're right. We'll call it. Okay. The Smith & Wesson semi-automatic handguns, he's not a big fan of. Me personally, I like the way that the M&P series look. To me, they look really, really sharp. And obviously the shield, I love the shield. But no, it's just one of those things where I think everyone has, when it says, man, I hate Glocks. What about, and I'm not trying to start an argument here, but let's just take this down the rabbit hole for a little bit. And that's out there in the chat. For those of you that say you hate Glocks, let's be honest and not just try to go through the Glocktard thing and all that. Let's be honest. What about Glocks do you hate? Because I know it's probably not going to be one of those that they don't run. They always are malfunctioning. So is it looks? Is it the weight? What is it about Glocks that most people hate?
Grip angle. You get a lot of grip angle.
Yep.
And yep. Glock is unique. But I'll tell you this. This is what's weird. again, anytime we talk to Glock, I keep going back to Rise of America's Gun. I keep going back to that book. It's awesome. Read it if you haven't. Do yourself a favor, even if you hate Glock, read that book. It's got great stuff about the industry and things that went on back in the day. But Gaston put tons and tons and tons of research into the grip angle on the Glock. And so I get this curiosity when people say it's a grip angle, it's a grip angle. And I'm thinking, okay, is it like, okay, he was in basically Europe, right? Is that, you know, is people's hands are different over there? Do they like a different grip angle, or, you know, maybe, or something like that? But he did extensive research even beyond just his. It's not like he just took a bunch of samples around within his town. You know, there's stuff that went out to different militaries and, you know, not militaries, but, you know, people that acquire arms for militaries and law enforcement and all of this good kind of stuff. Went out, you know, all of his designs and stuff like that were checked out and tested, and he really had a knack for bringing in people that knew what they were doing and talking about. And so, yeah, when you get that grip angle argument, I'm like, I don't get it. I mean, I guess maybe those people, their hands are just different or something, but I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I like the angle myself.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah. Now, Philo says that Ghost is getting picky. Am I a caliber snob? I am not a caliber snob by any means, but I have made no bones about it. And I think everyone that watches any of my stuff at all knows that I prefer the 9mm over pretty much everything in a handgun caliber. So yeah, I'm not a snob. I like the 9mm because I like being able to get a lot of ammo and be able to use more than just one gun. I like being able to take a box of ammo and 10 different guns to the range and be able to use all of them with the same ammo.
Yeah. And hopefully, you know, I would hope that people are out there listening and they understand that this is Ghost and Clover. This is lighthearted. You know, we're throwing out personal opinions. We're picking on stuff. We're playing devil's advocate. We're whatever. If you like a Jimenez tooth, then carry a Jimenez tooth. And I don't really care what, I mean, whatever. I mean, to each their own. You're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to what you enjoy and what you like. So that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not saying everybody has to throw away their Smith & Wesson auto loaders, or, you know, you need to, you know, everybody needs to go Glock, or everybody needs to go 10mm or 9mm, 22, or whatever it might be.
Right.
So I go into everything assuming that people out there understand that and know that, right?
Yeah.
I'm not the Second Amendment firearm community soup Nazi here, you know.
Right.
No 40 for you.
Yeah, I personally don't care what you're shooting as long as you're shooting. It makes no difference. You could go down and find an $89 used gun, and if you love it and you're going to fire it and you're going to be proficient with it, then, man, that's the greatest gun in the world. Whatever, you know what the greatest gun in the world is? The gun you're shooting at that time. That's really what it comes down to. Now, I carry my revolver in single action. Says Ghost, 9mm is made for Glock, and the 40 caliber is meant for the Smith & Wesson M&Ps. 40 and is perfect in the M&Ps. I'm not saying the 40 is not good. I'm saying that I prefer a 9mm. Now, I think what he might be talking about is a difference between a 10mm and a 40. And I think what Clover was saying is why would you settle for a 40 if it's, you know, if you've got the chance for the 10mm? I personally would rather, like I said, I don't hate the 10mm. I don't hate the 40 or the 45. I personally have always been a big fan of the 9mm, and that's probably because that's kind of the first caliber that I shot in handguns, and that's just kind of what I've always used, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for 9 over either one of those anyway, even 10mm.
Right.
So, you know, I'm not jumpy over here. I'm not 10mm life by any means. But you know, you ask me which one I prefer or whatever, and I'm gonna tell you my opinion, and that's my opinion. You know. With that being said, like I said, everybody's different.
That's right.
The whole one of the other reasons that drove me into the Glock 20 was, at the time, I'd picked up a literally a pickup load of reloading stuff from an old man that had passed away. And there was, good Lord, 5 to 10,000 rounds of brand new 10mm brass there. There was probably that many easily projectiles. Obviously, 10mm 40 caliber projectile, but in that lot of stuff. And so that's also what pushed me into the Glock 20 a little bit too. Honestly, of course, my dad's had 10mm for quite a few years before that. He's had a couple, so I've had experience with that. It was out before the 40, so I had experience with that before the 40. But yeah, my situation is a little different with that. So everybody kind of has to gauge it according to their personal preference and lifestyle and what have you, right? So to each their own, like we were saying.
Yeah. Now that we got a lot of people commenting on what they don't like necessarily about Glocks, and then obviously grip angle, the big one. Triggers is another one. The finger grooves. See, I like the finger grooves. I don't have huge hands, so the finger grooves for me always felt really good. That's maybe probably why I like the Generation 3 the most. I don't know. People are saying the sights and the triggers are besides the grip angle and all that, it looks like, sights and triggers. Someone's asking about triggers for the Glocks. Most of mine have, and it's actually not, obviously it's not mine. I wish it was, but it's not mine. But I don't do it because of the name. I actually did this long before I even came up with the channel here. But I put ghost triggers in my Glocks, most of mine. I do have an Apex in 1 or 2 of them, but most of them I use ghost. But Apex are great triggers to drop in Glocks. Go check out the ghost triggers. They're really good. I don't know if you've I try to put I try to stay pretty standard and stock in a lot of my guns, unless it's one that I use for competition that I need to do something different with. But I personally don't mind the Glock triggers. Like I said, like you said, teaches their own. I like the Glock triggers. I like the Smith & Wesson triggers and some models of Smith & Wesson. I do not like their triggers, but there's just that each is different,
And with a Glock, I mean, you don't have to get all off into, triggers or spring kits or disconnectors, right, whatever, if you don't want to. I mean, they're easy enough to disassemble. I mean, you literally can do it with one punch. And so you could easily take that thing apart, and with some polishing compound and stuff, there's some contact points in there that you can polish up, and you would be surprised because you got to realize that unlike a lot of other farms that are out there, and that's why you see Glocks everywhere, right? It's just part of the whole company design. But mass produce, crank them out, that type of thing. And so there's a little bit lacking in the refinement area. So you can certainly take a stock Glock. You can do a little polishing with the fire control group, like I said, in a couple of certain spots for sure. And it really make a difference. It really will.
Yeah. Trying to see who was this. Okay, so Philo says he's put the original trigger back into most of his Glocks. There's a lot of wasted money. Like I said, I would say, all but 3 of my Glocks have the original triggers in them now. And like I said, one of them I use for competition, and the other 2, I put one of the Ghosts in there, and then one of the Apex in another one. But most of mine, the vast majority, have the original triggers in there. And like I said, it might just be personal preference. I personally don't dislike the Glock trigger. Some people talk about not liking the Glock trigger. I would say that the average person, especially that are getting into guns, don't know, excuse me, what an aftermarket trigger feels like. So, You know, if you go between different calibers and different guns and different brands and different models and all of that, everyone's going to like certain trigger pulls and others. Some like heavier trigger pulls, some people like lighter trigger pulls. But I mean, you know, you get a gun and you can customize pretty much any gun you want if you have the money and the time. So, you know,
The
if you
vast
don't like the
majority,
looks of something, then go find something else. If you like the looks of it, but you don't like the sights or don't like something else, you can always change the sights, you know?
yeah, I think the vast majority of people out there, and when I say that, that's not anybody uh, that is probably is definitely in the chat or anything out there right now
Oh, sure.
would not fall into the vast majority. But the vast majority, I think, of firearm owners out there, um, they could not pick up one fire, live fire, or dry fire, either one, and tell you whether or not that has an aftermarket trigger in it on any given pistol or rifle, probably for that matter. They probably couldn't do it and say, yeah, that's had trigger work done to it, or that's had something changed out. Most people, they don't, they don't shoot enough, they don't have enough experience with, different firearms, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I mean, I would agree. To a lot of people, it doesn't matter because they don't have that experience to then turn around and apply litmus test and stuff.
Yeah. Now, Trey out there says that he only shoots 357 SIG, but he can reload it for the same price as 9mm. If you can reload 357 SIG the same as 9mm, then do your thing, boy.
You have fun with that, because man, I had a buddy ask me to load some 357 SIG for him, and bought dies, and he did some other stuff. He bought all the stuff, obviously, and I'm like, that was it. He was buying his own press and doing it himself, because like 350, that was not enjoyable at all. Yeah. I did not like I do not like the neck down pistol cartridge. The 7.62 Tokarov is same way, and I do reload that. But that's one that you don't see out there a lot. It's it's kind of hard to come by, right? So there is a little bit of a payoff, at least with reloading that. Yeah, 357 SIG. I don't know. Not a fan. Love the cartridge, just not a fan when it comes to having to reload it. And maybe if I, had to do it and did it all the time, maybe that opinion would change.
Now, Marco was out there and he was talking earlier about cost, and all of that. And that's obviously something that goes into everything, especially if you're looking to buy a gun, then there's multiple reasons to go buy a gun. One of them is if you're a collector. Another one is if you're going to use it for concealed carry, a EDC or home defense. Or 3, it's just going to be something to have around, and every now and then you might go shoot it. It all depends on what you're buying that gun for. If you're buying the gun for an investment, then that's on you, whether you think you got a good deal on it. If you're looking to buy it for an EDC or something like that, and it comes down to, yes, the cost of the gun, but you also, to me, if you're buying it for an EDC and you can afford it, you want to buy the best, most reliable gun in your eyes, and what you consider the best and most reliable. Not what I think, not what Clover thinks, but the best gun that you can afford, because if that's going to be the gun that saves your life, then that's the one you need to be most comfortable with. And if that means that it is a Sky, if that means that it is an HK, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying go buy a Sky, but what I'm saying is
I don't know that I'd go that far. No, I'm just
what I'm saying is, if they have $200, yeah, there's some awesome guns. You can go get a Ruger LCR or LCP for a couple $100. So I wouldn't necessarily go with a Sky. But what I'm saying is go buy the best gun that you can afford. But also remember that built into that associated cost is, I know you're not Marco. I'm not. I know that you're not talking about the gun. I'm talking about the gun. So if you don't like it, go somewhere else. I don't care. But what I was saying is go buy, but part of the associated cost with that gun that you're buying is practicing, hopefully, and cost of ammo. Right. So if you like a gun, but the ammo is going to be expensive or hard to come by, well, that's probably going to deteriorate your chances of going to the range and being more proficient and practicing. So it might be one of those things where you might love that that Glock 20. But if you can't find 10 millimeter around, or if it's really, really expensive and all of that, then what you can do is go for a gun that you can find ammo for. If it's 380 or 9 millimeter or 40, that's what a part of the associated cost in there is the ammo that you're going to buy. Well, and whatever you're going to buy, take in saying, I've got $500. Well, don't go buy a $485 gun. It's going to take that up. If you can go find a $400 gun and still be able to go afford 50 rounds at least of ammo, then that's what you probably would. I would like for you to do. So,
well, you got to realize when things come up and cost is thrown in there, people they swing from one extreme to the other, right? They'll say, well, that costs too much, and then they'll turn right around and talk about let's throw optics in there, for example. Oh, you got to spend 4 times the amount of your rifle on some glass. Well, wait a minute, because just a second ago you said cost was an issue. So, and so we come back into this to each their own. If you can afford to do something, or whatever, then you've got your opinions and your thoughts, and go do it. Right? People spend far more money than other people on everything that's out there on a daily basis, be it clothes or cars or houses or firearms or ammunition or whatever it might be, food. There's people that only shop at Whole Foods, for goodness sake. It's the only place they shop. And so, I'm more of a Super One, Costco guy, but, so, it's going to be subjective. And so that stands to reason. We're not saying mortgage your home to go buy an expensive firearm. We're not saying mortgage your home to go buy expensive ammo. You do what you got to do and what's right for you. And I'm okay with that.
Well, and what's an expensive gun to one may be completely out of the ballpark, or it may just be a drop in the hat for others,
Yeah.
So, my biggest thing, I said, the best gun in the world is the gun that you're shooting at that time.
Yeah.
So whatever gun that is, whatever gun you can afford, whatever gun that you feel comfortable with, and you go and practice with it and get to the range. That's the best gun in the world.
The other thing too, and this is something that dawned on me the other night. I was looking around. I think it was Tack out there that he said something earlier about Amazon would be starting to sell firearms soon or something. And I was joking, and I said, when they do, that'll be the end of Amazon links on YouTube. But a lot of places are. I noticed the other night that Midway USA has a section, and I haven't noticed that before, where you buy, and they're coming from a warehouse somewhere, probably Bud's Gun Shop, but they're coming from a warehouse somewhere anyway. But they even have a section where they're selling now, and I just got to browsing through that, and I just went to like the handguns, and I sorted by price, lowest to highest, and I was just scrolling through. I was just looking, and this is where shopping around. I mean, not getting in a hurry. And shopping around makes a big difference. You can be frugal. It takes time to be frugal, but you can be frugal. And one thing that struck me, I was going through there, and they had I don't have one, but it's one that if I had the disposable income sitting around, I would certainly buy. Is a VP9. I really want a VP9, and man, they had a killer price on a VP9. Man, it was like $499.99, and I was like, for a freaking VP9, what? $500? Are you kidding me?
When was this?
Just a couple of nights ago.
Did you get it?
Oh, I don't got $500 sitting around.
I didn't know if you wanted to go get that extra credit card that you keep getting in the mail saying, "Hey,
I don't. Bad as I want it, I don't want
to. $9 for $499. I would probably try to figure out a way to do something, because that's pretty damn good.
That would require selling something that I already have and enjoy, or it's like, I don't like selling guns to buy guns. And this is something I was talking with, I think it was Gizzard in an after chat the other night, was talking about for a long time now. And I may get I may do this before it's over with, and certainly being in the social thing and all of that, it could help with T&E and other aspects of what we do. But for a long time, I've been toying with the idea of getting an FFL. And one of the reasons I haven't until this point is I have this problem. When I acquire a firearm, I do not want to get rid of said firearm, period. I've got like this unhealthy attachment to, I'm serious. When you're out there and people want to demonize, if you really know me, you really know that I don't give two craps what you love and what you carry and what you own, because my collection runs the spectrum. And I love every one of them, just like I love every one of my children, because they're all different. I enjoy them for different things and in different ways. Some of them don't shoot worth a crap, but they're just too cool looking to get rid of, right? Some of them shoot great, but they're some of them shoot great, but they're just rusty and ugly and nasty looking. Some of them are
your guns, right? Not your kids, right?
I'm talking about the
I had to ask. It was too easy.
So one of the reasons I haven't went down that road yet is for fear that I would get that, and then I would acquire stuff and not want to get rid of it, not want to, not be able to turn loose of it. So, but I think that my gun buying has really slowed down the last couple of years majorly, and I think that's allowed me a little bit of a time to have a little bit of a perspective shift. And one of the reasons is because I would be able to buy police lots. I've got some, I don't want to say inside sources, but I've got some avenues to be able to buy from, sheriff's departments, police departments, some different things like that. And they go fairly reasonable. They do them in like lots. So you could get like 5 guns for like $300 or something. Well, there may be one in there I could keep, and then I could sell the other 4, right? Either sell them in a little shop here locally or even gun broker them or something like that to get my money back, right? Because all the ATF cares about is that you're in the business to make money, or you have it to make money. So, as long as I was turning a profit of maybe $5 a year, they wouldn't care. But yeah, that's been my hang up for a long time is getting rid of stuff, getting rid of one to then buy another, or getting rid of 2 or 3 to buy another one. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. I want them all, right?
Local 223s out there is coming in, trying to start an argument and start some hysteria going on. He says the Glock 45 is the best handgun he'll ever shoot. I have not seen one in person yet. I've seen obviously pictures and some videos and all of that, but I have not seen one in person. And it's a
Glock. It's like every other
9mm. It's a Glock 9mm, so it is what it is.
If it says Glock, it doesn't leave a lot to the imagination, right?
Right.
I found that out. I mean, I talk about this with my 42. It shoots, it feels and shoots and operates and manipulates like any other Glock. Right. So I mean, okay, Glock 45. I mean, once they get to Glock 873, it's going to be a Glock, and probably not. Once Gaston, we've talked about that. Once he's gone, then they may get a little more radical with stuff. But as long as he's around, it's not going to matter what version it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be a Glock, But the 45, I think the whole deal behind the 45 is that's more of a duty issue of the 19X, right?
Exactly. That's pretty much exactly what it is. Yeah.
And that is what
Glock, slide.
That's Glock's bread and butter. That's how they got their rives to stardom, so to speak. So, they've got to cater to that, duty weapon crowd.
Sure. Now, unknown user out there says, Clover, I would so buy guns from you if you sold them surplus.
Oh, it would be so cool. I thought about that too, especially with a lot of the friends and the following and stuff like that. Not to pull a whole Tim from Military Arms Channel with trying to sell your followers guns all the time, but I think it would be neat because I don't want to get an FFL and become like an authorized SIG dealer, an authorized Glock dealer, and sell. I don't care nothing about really selling the new stuff. I would like to pick up stuff on the secondary market. Maybe get into some good surplus MilSerp deals. And MilSerps can include, of course, law enforcement trade-in, stuff like that. And there is a police academy. Actually, I think there's 2 local to me. And I know several local dealers in the past that have gotten in some pretty nice revolvers and Glocks and stuff from those. They're worn, obviously, but as far as operating, I mean, they operate great. They're worn from holster wear and, everything else. But, yeah, I mean, it would kind of give an opportunity to, maybe give some people some good prices on some unique stuff. Cause, honestly, with the added benefit, like I said, of the whole T&E game and stuff like that, and the added benefit of me being able to pick up maybe a cool firearm every now and then, as long as I could make it worth my while, as far as kind of like we were talking about with the layaway and stuff, weird how things come full circle, that it pays for itself. You know what I'm saying? It pays to replenish itself. Then who cares?
Yeah. Well, and as far as getting, and I've heard of people trying to do, the home FFLs and all this stuff. And it's basically they sell guns. They're going to try to sell some guns here and there, sell some holsters, do all that. But they're getting into it so they can buy guns at a cheaper price. The problem with that is if you've ever been around a gun shop owner, they'll tell you there's not a whole lot of profit in guns. So it's not like you're buying a gun for $100 and selling it for $450. You're buying it for anywhere from $350 to $400, and you're going to make $50 to $75 on a gun. So if you're getting into an FFL, guys, if you're thinking about an FFL out there, go talk to the gun shop owners and ask them how much they're making on firearms. So like I said, you're not buying them for buying a gun wholesale is a lot different than you're not keystoning. You're not doubling the price on a retail price in a gun. So
but again, you're talking new stuff, really,
right?
Because I know a dealer that went out and bought 15. Was it 15? No, it was more than that. It was like 20 or 25, I think, in that lot. I think it was like 20 or 25 guns he bought in a lot, and I think he had to give like $5,000 for them.
Yep.
But he got like 20 or 25 guns. Well, just one of those was worth over $1,000.
Yeah.
He brought it in, logged it in, and like immediately flipped it for over $1,000, just one. So, my thinking is, I would be able to do that because I wouldn't be in it to make a living per se, right? As far as ATF's concerned, as long as there's a profit, that's making a living. But $20, $30, $100 maybe a month, I'm flipping profit. But I could do that to where, like I was saying, if you picked up, let's say, 4 guns for $300, well, as long as I could sell the 3, and you're almost always going to be able to sell 3 guns for $300. Come on. Then that means I can keep 1, right?
That's right.
So
find the one you want to keep the most. And
it's like, okay. Yeah, exactly.
Now, Snob says that he's had his FFL application filled out on his desk for months, just keeps putting it off, sending it in, but he wants to do it so he can make some money Cerakoting.
Yeah, because you have to have that now.
There's a lot of people doing that now, and there's some really cool. I don't do anything Cerakoted on mine. I've never tried it, but I actually have thought about Cerakoting one of my Glocks and getting like a nice little desert camo or something like that. But there's a lot of people doing it out there, and there's some really good work being put into it.
Oh yeah.
Do you have anything Cerakoted?
I got several things that are Cerakoted. I've never done it. Other than rattle can type stuff. I've used header paint on them. And we're talking about, I haven't taken a high dollar firearm and done anything like that, obviously.
Right.
But I played around with several different types of paints and stuff like that, some automotive paints and some different things with painting some stuff. Header paint and a heat gun. And then I went back over it with spray on bed liner, and I'm gonna tell you what, dude, there ain't no way you're gonna ever mess up the finish on that. but I did that on the barrels on a little double barrel shotgun I had. It was really bad. In fact, it had some pitting to the point that you couldn't polish it out. There wasn't no way that it would look smooth, you know. So that's why I took and hung the barrels, heated them up really good, and I actually sprayed my coats with the barrels warm, right?
Okay. Okay.
And it worked. It worked out really, really well. And then once I got that header paint on there, the header paint, if you've ever seen most header paints, it kind of has a little bit of a flake to it too, which I didn't like. But again, I had some pitting going on in there, so I'm like, okay, well, what can I do? Well, the spray on bed liner is textured; it almost gives it like a hammer forged look.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went over it with that spray on bed liner, just to kind of a final coat with that. And boy, it's a little double barrel 410, but dude, it looks cool, you know. And you know, so there are some Bubba whatever redneck Bubba job stuff like that you can do some stuff and get by if you're talking about I mean, I was talking like this little cheap double barrel. It's a little Cobra double barrel 410. So
Cobra double barrel 410.
Yeah, have you ever seen the little Cobra double barrel Derringers?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen those?
Yeah.
It's basically that, but it's got a folding buttstock on it, and then obviously it's got 18-inch barrels on it.
There you go. Had no idea. Yeah. Never heard of it.
Yeah, I mean it's you say the word Cobra, and right there it tells you what it's worth, right? So why would you spend a lot of money doing anything to it? I mean, a Bubba job is the best it's going to get.
Yeah, Bubba jobs actually, you don't want to do anything but a Bubba job on that. Probably it would look weird having a nice job done on something like that,
Yeah, and and it looks good the way it is. It really does. I've gotten multiple.
Well, I've never heard of anyone doing the spray on bed liner. That's really interesting. That the texture would be kind of cool, I think.
And I've got several stocks done with that. I've got a what is the Remington? It escapes my mind now, but if once I say this, especially the chat will probably blow up out there. They know what I'm talking about. But the Remington bolt action rifle that has the butt ugly gray stocks. You familiar with what I'm talking about? Like the Walmart budget rifle from Remington. You see it at Academy, Bass Pro, other places too, I'm sure. But it's got that just crappy gray color stock.
700?
No, it's not a 700. No, it's like a 710 or a 720 or.
I thought it was like the 700 SPS. I thought it was like an SPS.
No, the SPS. That's a special purpose stock. That's the black. That's a black stock.
The black stock. Okay.
GunStreamer says 783. Yeah, it may be 783. It's something like that. I know it's the budget, like the package deal. You see them all the time, and they've usually got a cheap scope on them or something like that. I got one of those in trade for some work. I actually did about $50 worth of work for a guy, and he traded me one of those in 243, and it sat in the, in the cabinet, vault, safe, whatever it was at the time, and I got tired of looking at that nasty gray stock. I was like, oh, I got to do something about this. I can't handle this. So what I actually did is I took spray on bed liner, and I textured it really well with spray on bed liner, and then I hung it, and I got it really again, used the heat gun. I found that using the heat does wonderful things for some reason. But I would heat up with a heat gun, and I got the Krylon, that what was that, plastic fusion or whatever. You familiar with what I'm talking about? Like the special made for like plastics and stuff like that. But I took that, I got some of that in flat dark earth, and I heated of course, where I had sprayed with the bed liner, I would heat that, and I think I put like 3 coats maybe of that stuff on it, and it's awesome looking now. At the end of the day, it's a cheap bolt action rifle, but at least it doesn't look like hammered crap, because that gray stock was horrible looking. All right, waiting for people to join this call. So, are we live still? Hey, if we're live out there, like press a 1 or something. because this is weird. Unsnap says you are. I am. So Ghost is out. That's weird. So it's just me. Okay. Well, cool. So at least y'all heard my story. The Ghost is dropped, so you just get the Clover show. So anyway, yeah, that's my story about the Remington stock there. And I've done several others. Einstein says NSA got. Yeah, you may have. I don't know. Hopefully he can get back in. I'm gonna. Well, no, I can't send him a link or anything. Dang it! Give me a second here. Ooh, I clicked the wrong thing. Get out of there. Hopefully he can come back, but I'll copy link address. Yeah, that don't work. Give me a minute. Bear with me. Figure out what happened to him here. I've got a weird screen up on my end is the problem. I don't know. Okay. So I guess it's just us. That's all cool though. Yeah, Giz says it's a Clover show. It just turned into Sunday MOA. Yeah, right. Hopefully he'll be back. Just had an internet drop or something, maybe. It's just kind of weird that it's still live, and I've got a weird thing on the screen here. It says waiting for people to join this call, which is weird, but yet it's live. So, Snob out there said he used the Krylon plastic FDE on a 7600. Yeah, that Krylon, whatever it's called, Plastic Fusion or whatever. Yeah, it works. It works pretty good.
Wow.
Pretty good. There you are. There you are.
So check this out. My daughter's little dog, little puppy, beautiful little puppy, decided that she was going to go and found something that looked like it was fun to chew up. He chewed up my internet cord, my cable.
Nice.
So I was like, what in the world? I'll go out there. And it's just, my wife's like, are you out of internet? It's like, yeah. She goes, I think she kind of chewed up your cord a little bit. So now I'm tethering, so off my phone. So yeah, got no internet. Isn't that grand?
Oh, okay. Beautiful.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Puppies,
so I have no
idea. Puppies.
I'm sure the show was better with just you anyway. So
no, I mean, I was trying to kind of figure out what happened to you because I had a weird screen. It wasn't like you just dropped out. It was like you ended the stream, but yet it still said live. And I was like, are we still live? And everybody's like, I'm like, type 1 if we're live. And it was like a flood of ones. And everybody was like, you're still on. It's just the Clover show now. And I'm like, well, it looks like it's not live on my end. So what's going on?
Oh man, no, it was just one of those things where my internet just cut off like all of a sudden. I was like, what in the world? And we got NSA'd by the puppy dog.
Puppies will be puppies. I'll tell you what, mine, you know, we say puppy, but I mean, obviously we call her Kitty most of the time because that was a running joke that when we first got her, my kids did. And now if you want to call her, you have to go, here, Kitty, Kitty, Kitty. But she is a puppy. She just identifies as a kitty. Okay. Biologically, right. She is a puppy. She ever since she was little, she has had this fixation with tearing up paper. And I don't get it. And I've never been able to break her from it. I've never been able to. You leave a receipt laying around. You leave you talk about dog ate my homework. You know, growing up, if the kids left their homework laying around, seriously, she would shred it. She wouldn't eat it, but she'll shred it.
That's what my old Great Dane was. I
don't get the fascination, and I've never been able to never was able to break her from it. But it's funny because Christmas time we would she had a field day with all the wrapping paper.
Oh yeah,
we would unwrap gifts, and then that was her Christmas, was to get because we'd have to clean it up anyway, right? So we just left it out, let her tear some paper up for a few hours, you know, and well, she was just happy as a clam, you know, tearing up Christmas wrappers for hours.
The greatest day for my old Great Dane when he was still around, the greatest day in his life was the day that someone would leave like a roll of paper towels somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And we wake up the next morning and you talk about just absolutely shredding it. And he had this look on his face like, hey, I know you're pissed. I know you're mad, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
For some reason, yeah, my old dog and this dog here, she's half lab, half golden retriever. She's black. She's beautiful. Beautiful. It's like a black lab, but she's part golden retriever. Incredibly intelligent. She's 16 weeks old. She's a great dog. She chews constantly. Just chew. But she hasn't chewed up the carpet. She hasn't chewed up any of the door frames. She hasn't chewed up any of the furniture yet. She just chews her bones and her toys, which is great. Except for this time, she decided that internet cable was looking just mighty scrumptious.
It was just too enticing. It was.
I think my wife put her up to it. I'm not gonna lie. My wife's probably pointing to it, saying, "Hey, shoot this."
Right. Now, no, go ahead.
No, I just said dogs are funny. That's all I was saying.
Oh yeah, definitely. Patriot out there has asked a couple of times. He was talking about branding. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but I seen it earlier.
I didn't know if he was in a discussion with somebody else, so I kind of let it go. I thought he was
talking earlier, and we got down some rabbit holes, and then I seen it again pop up. Yeah, here it is. He said, "Okay, Mr. Nerd." He said, "How do I set up branding so I don't have to split?" He doesn't have the split in his YouTube name, so I'm not sure what he's talking about.
You talking about the name Patriot in the Dark?
Yeah, Patriot.
Was he wanting to like?
In the dark. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know if he wants it to be like all one thing, or if he wants it to be separated, or I'm not sure what he's talking about. But I would go one of two things. If you smash it all together, capitalize the first letter of each word and then smash it all together. That may be the best way as far as your username. Now, as far as your actual branding, I think it would look more professional probably if you put spaces in that. But
yeah,
even with most of them you see out there that have multiple words in a name or whatever, for all of their social, most of the time they smash them together anyway. So
right. Now, what Snob was saying is that he's talking about making a brand account on YouTube.
Okay.
And I think what it is it's the hashtag is Patriot in the, and it would be a space dark, because right now in his name, it's Patriot in the is one word, and then dark is a separate word. So, yeah, I mean, I have spaces in my name, Ghost Space Tactical on YouTube. But obviously, when you do a hashtag, you're talking about capitalizing the G and then capitalizing the S, just like Clover said. Maybe Patriot in the Dark, all spaces in there was already taken. I don't know. That might be something that maybe that's the reason why. But the brand account is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not really up on the whole brand thing, but I think it's so multiple people can manage, and
right.
For someone that has like a faceted company, the multimedia director and all of that, I want to say I don't know much about setting up a brand account, so maybe Clover will have more.
I don't have a brand account.
I don't either. I just have a regular account.
Mm-hmm.
I need to Google, was it YouTube brand account? Let's see here. Manage your brand account. Move YouTube channel to a brand account. This is from Google. So when a channel is linked to a brand account, multiple people can manage it from their Google accounts. If you already have a YouTube channel, you can associate it with a specific brand account. I'm trying to figure out exactly what the benefits are. Benefit. I don't know if there are any, to be honest with you.
multi management.
Yeah, but I mean, outside of that, I mean, I don't think it.
Not on anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine there being. You shouldn't set up a brand channel just for the sake of setting one up, but you should, if you have a clear strategy with goals and objectives. Oh, and some videos. If done right, there are many benefits. Number one, creates a consistent experience for customers and prospects. Having a branded channel on YouTube always allows you to customize the appearance of your page. I can do that anyways. Expands the social outreach. I can already do that. Cross promote your website. I can do that also. So it doesn't sound like, maybe this is something that's older that before you could do. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost on it at the moment too. Yeah, I would have to dive into it. I'm kind of lost on it too. This is like, okay, maybe I have a branded account.
Maybe I did and just didn't realize. Hey, I have no idea.
Maybe it's before they called it.
They said you can do. I can do right now. So maybe I do have a branded account. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it was I had it before they called it a branding account or something. Yeah, I'm looking now under, where would I need to go? Channel, probably.
Now he's saying it's hard for people to search out his channel. This is Patriot. So he didn't know if there was an issue. Well, yeah, because if you were to type out, if you were to sit there to say, hey, go check out Patriot in the Dark's channel, I'm going to sit there and assume it's Patriot space in space the space dark space. You do that, you're not going to find your channel. If you type all of it, Patriot in the Dark is one word, you're not going to find it because it's Patriot in the space dark. So I do believe that there could be something that you might want to start thinking about a way. I don't know. That's not going to be that easy, Patriot, honestly, because the way that you have it typed out is a very, no one in their right mind, no offense, would think of spelling it and putting it together the way you did it. So as far as your question is, it's going to be hard to find a channel that's spelled in, formatted differently, for lack of a better word. Then yeah, that's going to be difficult.
I don't see
spelling.
I don't see, if you do Patriot in the Dark, no spaces, and then capitalize the first letter, I don't see any channels out there.
Now his is Patriot in the, and then the second word is just dark.
I know. I'm just saying, if he was to take and push dark up against that, in other words, do a name change,
all of it in one, yeah,
remove the space, I don't see another channel out there with that name. And then you could easily say Patriot in the Dark, no spaces,
all one word. Yeah. That's something I would definitely look into. Because like I said, that's gonna.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
If you're not seeing anything like that, then that's definitely something that I would do.
Yeah. If you want people to easily find it, I think that's probably going to be the best thing. It's just going to be a name change, get rid of the space. If you want it more searchable, then probably having spaces between each word would be the way to go. But the problem with that is that's going to mesh with a lot of other stuff too. So you're going to increase the competition that way, if that makes sense.
Let me do this real quick. I'm going to do just a quick search for all spaces in between Patriot in the Dark channel.
Oh, okay. He says that Dark was in place of a last name when he signed up. So
I do not see any channels that have Patriot in the Dark come up with spaces in between. Matter of fact, you show up as the first and second videos, your name's in there, and the fourth channel down is yours. Just doing Patriot in the Dark channel, all spaces there. So you could either go all Patriot in the Dark, all spaces in between all the words, or all one word. And I think that either one of those would be better as far as searchability than what you have right now.
Right.
But I'm not seeing, it's not like there's 14 other Patriot in the Dark channels out there. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, either way. I'm I don't remember. It's been so long ago because my channel doesn't have anything to do with my name. So
Right.
and then yeah, so somewhere along the line, I don't know. I got to go back and look at that. At some point, when you've done things so long ago and they've changed things so much, you know what I mean? You're like,
Yeah.
how did they, how did they do that? When did they change that? And how do you do it now?
Right. Yeah, I don't, because he basically what he was saying is he put his first name is Patriot and his last name is Dark. But there's got to be a way to put your name there, but then have your channel name. Now he's over. Hold on here. Let me just try something. He's over 100 subs. So, have you done your custom URL? If you get over 100 subs and you can customize your URL, you could do youtube.com/ghost tactical. And you could do Patriot in the Dark. So it'd be easier to say, hey, if you're on YouTube, go to youtube.com/Patriot in the Dark. So I would, even if you don't change your name, go get that custom URL because that's easier to remember also. I want to check that out. I don't know. Isn't it 100 subs you get your custom URL, or is it 250?
It's 100.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Now, this is completely off subject, but I can't remember it. The whole iHeartRadio, they were tied to a podcast service. What do you remember the name of that? Screecher or
Spreaker? Yes, Spreaker.
Spreaker, like speaker with an R.
Yeah, Spreaker.
Yeah. Okay.
But see, I got on Spreaker at a later time, but my initial was through iHeartRadio's website itself. It took a while. Now maybe Spreaker, you can get on and it probably will maybe get you on a lot quicker. But I submitted to iHeartRadio through iHeartRadio itself, not through Spreaker.
Right.
And I did it. It took a couple weeks for to get it back, but it did eventually happen.
Yeah.
Because I hooked it up through my PodBean RSS feed.
It took a while. Yeah. Yeah, I finally found it because you couldn't find how you got in to do that.
Oh, did you finally find it? Okay.
And I finally found it, and it took 2 or 3 weeks before they approved it.
Yeah, mine took about 2 weeks. Yeah. Now, maybe the Spreaker thing is if you applied to iHeart through Spreaker, then it goes a lot quicker. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's like a given. I think if you pay, I don't know about I know for a fact because you can't even because I did play around with that. If you go in and you do the free deal on Spreaker, you don't have the option to submit to iHeartRadio. But there's an option in there if you pay for one of the levels that will submit to iHeartRadio.
Gotcha. So yeah, if you guys are interested in doing a podcast and you want to get on iHeart, now what you need a Spreaker, there's what's it called again? Is it like the Pro plan or something like that? What is it?
What was Spreaker?
Yeah. There was something you said at one point that you had to have this to get to iHeart, and it said that I had it, but I was not even on Spreaker. Remember that a long time ago when I first got on iHeart?
Yeah.
It showed me as being part of this thing, and I never even heard of Spreaker or something like that.
Yeah. You got to have at least the Pro. There's the free, and then there's the Pro plan.
Right.
Yeah. The on-air talent.
It's only like $5 a month.
Yeah, $5.99 a month. Yeah. And then you say
I'm on there now, which is odd because I already had an account.
The problem with Spreaker, since we're talking about this, good subject, I guess, it being podcast day. But the problem that I see with Spreaker, and I seen right off the bat when I was looking at this, because I thought, well, heck, I'll pay $5.99 a month to be able to get on iHeartRadio, whatever. You're limited. It's the audio storage that you're limited to. And for me, it's absolutely not going to work. 100 hours of storage. yeah, it's just not gonna fly. It wasn't gonna fly for me. That that's basically less than 100 shows, right, for me. So
Right.
um,
Now, unless you want to put certain shows on there, and it might not be where you put every show on iHeart.
you would have to be you would have to be really limited with what you did. It'd be a lot more management. So so yeah, Spreaker, as far as for hosting your podcast, unless you just have to use a free option and you want to try to go with their free option just to get by, I wouldn't recommend Spreaker. I've been happy with PodBean, so
I'm extremely happy with PodBean. Yeah, that's who actually hosts my podcast.
And they've got now. You found it first, but they turned on where all you had to do basically was click a button to get Spotify. So
yep.
Exactly. It was that simple. It's like, click here to put your stuff on Spotify. Like, oh, cool.
And they automatically do the iTunes for you.
Yeah, they've had iTunes forever. But yeah.
Yes, I'm saying. I mean, it's real easy. I mean, the only one that is not basically automatic is iHeart. But with that, you can pretty much do anything with PodBean.
Right. Yeah. Scott out there says he thought it was Stitcher. Yeah, Stitcher is a whole other.
A whole other one.
There's a lot of people on
Stitcher. Yeah, there's a whole lot of people on Stitcher.
Yeah, and I'm on Stitcher. I think I'm on Stitcher. There's one.
You're on.
There's one I'm not on, and I can't remember what it is now. But there is one I'm not on.
Stitcher, PodBean, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify. I'm not on Pandora. I don't even know if Pandora does podcasts. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know if they do or not.
Stitcher, Spreaker,
SoundCloud. SoundCloud is the
not
one.
On SoundCloud. No, not on SoundCloud.
I haven't figured out how to do that yet. That's weird.
All right, so he says he changed it. Can you search? He did. So let me try to search for this again real quick.
I don't know how long it'll take to replicate.
Yeah, it might take a little bit, but
I don't see it. When my wife changed hers over to that guy's wife, it took literally like days before it propagated. So don't freak out.
Now, let's see here.
So I'm going to search by. I've got it. I'm doing it, and I'm doing it.
Patriot in the Dark. I just searched by Patriot in the Dark channel.
Yeah, if I go to channels, he's like the fourth one down.
It still has this no spaces in the, so it hasn't changed the name yet in the system.
Yeah, it just hadn't propagated.
Yeah.
So give it a few days. Be patient.
Yeah. There you go. But I think that'll probably in the long haul, Patriot. Had you not started creating content, I don't think it would have mattered. But now that you've gotten into the game and you're going to plan on doing some more stuff, I definitely think that the searchability needs to be, like you said, the way you did it is perfect. Because it would have been very, very difficult to every time you talked about it to explain it. This way, you type in Patriot in the Dark, and hopefully in a day or so it'll pop up and all of that. But I think now that you're hey, later, Stealth. Thanks, buddy. Now that you're actually putting out content, I think you need to start worrying about branding and worrying about searchability and all of that. Because if you're just a viewer and not a creator, you can have your name whatever you want, because very few people will be searching your name out. But now that you are doing stuff, yes, searchability is a big one. Well, Pars, we've been going on about an hour and 45 minutes. We want to kind of start shutting the doors, or do you want to keep going?
That's all up to you or whoever. I don't
know if the viewers out there have any more questions. I guess we can take questions real quick. If you guys have anything that you would like for us to answer before we get off, now is the time. So tag myself or Clover, and we will answer some questions out there. And if not, then we will start sweeping the board, put the chairs back on the tables. The
only thing pressing I got is a date with a couple of pieces of leftover pizza and a cream soda or something. That's about it for me. So.
I don't have a whole lot. I got a buddy of mine that was asking earlier, maybe we could probably meet at the range around 5. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that regardless if I'm still on here or not, because like I said, we are babysitting the puppy dog today.
Yeah. Now, eventually here later, I need to jump over and kind of do some checking on the Gun Gal stuff to see if I got their embedded problem fixed. They've been having an issue where it's the stuff is not enabled on the channel or whatever. You got to sign up for the partner program, all of that good stuff.
Right.
and I did submit to that, but I mean, I don't have access to their email, and I mean, I don't have access to all that. So I require my wife to figure all that out and look at stuff and
still at work.
All of that. Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to embed that tonight. I'm hoping. Patriot is asking where's the hashtag blind challenge. You know, I filmed the other day. I filmed mine. Jesus, it's going to take like 10 years to edit it.
That good, huh?
Man, I did it with my Glock 42. Well, the whole removing the striker and what is it on the Glock and the is that the extractor rod and spring and detent? I think that's what it is, right? That's on the side.
The spring, did you? Because you had your
no. I didn't lose any of that, but I knew all that. I knew all that was there. So, but having to have the Glock tool and then explain and without visuals, try to explain the Glock tool and where to put this. And I mean, once it was okay up until the point that I got to that part of the slide and taking all that apart. And there'll be 40 billion edits in that trying to. Otherwise, it's not going to sound right. So I'm like, okay, should I just reshoot the whole thing now that I've kind of done it? Now I know what pitfalls to look for. And so I go back and just reshoot it again and try to go, for the most part, all the way through it. So it may be one of those things where, I'll get it out there. It may still take a week or something, but I mean, I'll get it out there just to get it out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I haven't had the chance yet to. We were busy yesterday here at work, which I didn't think we were. I wasn't planning on being a busy weekend, and then the temperatures dropped 20 degrees in the last few days, and guess what? It became very busy at work. So no, it was a good time. I just haven't had time to video it, which I'm looking forward to. I'm doing my shield. So like I said, I think it's awesome that different people are going to be doing different guns, because that way we can create a massive catalog for the visually impaired out there that might have whatever gun they've got. Someone's got that catalog,
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying I'm eventually, whether I reshoot it or not, I'm going to put it out there. Exactly. And I appreciate the challenge part of it, because it no pun intended here, but it really opened my eyes at how you have to go about things and think about things, because you have to find reference points, right? Like, you're like, okay, once you locate this, and this is where this is at, and this is what it feels like.
This feels like, exactly.
It feels like a rectangle, and it's serrated, or it's it's ribbed or whatever. And if you move up from there, before you get to the slide, and you should feel this little thing that feels like this. Now from there, if you move to the left, and it's like you always got to have those reference points. It seems like you're going to go from hit point A to point B, and you have to be real specific about that.
Yeah. See, Gary was saying there's no way he's doing a complete disassembly.
Oh, I'm not doing a complete disassembly.
No. We're talking a field strip here.
But you got to pull the striker and you need to pull all that stuff out, So, and that gets really tricky, because you've got to
folded.
If you've ever done that, I mean, you've got springs that can go flying everywhere.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I asked you when you started talking about that. I was like, "Uh-oh, you lost a spring, didn't you?"
No, I didn't lose a spring. I have before on that 42, taking it apart. So I've learned my lesson on that. But yeah, it's a matter of how do you explain all that? How do you explain where your finger's at and covering this portion? You've got to cover this corner of the slide with this finger to make sure that the spring doesn't pop out, and just I don't know. It's there's other firearms out there that have been a whole lot easier. You know what I mean?
He says, he says use a pillowcase or a large clear Ziploc bag and work inside it so the springs don't fly away.
I guess I guess you could. But I would like for it to be dual purpose. I mean, it be out there. If it's in a bag or if it's in something where you can't see it, then At least if you can see it while you're, you know, obviously if you're visually impaired, you're not going to be able to see the video. But for those that are not visually impaired, I mean, because it would serve two purposes that way. So,
Sure.
but you know, if I'm doing things right, you know, and explaining them right and doing them right, then I shouldn't have springs flying anywhere anyway. And that's kind of the point with it too. So, yeah, I may just reshoot. I may try to just reshoot the whole thing.
I'm gonna probably either come into work early tomorrow, get here really early, and shoot that in the morning, or tomorrow afternoon after work, stay a little bit late. But I'm gonna try to get that shot tomorrow and get that out. So,
right now,
yeah, if you haven't heard about it, I'm sorry.
I'm doing mine overhead view, so you can't necessarily see that I'm blindfolded. But as much as I'm fumbling around, you can tell I'm not looking at it.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually going to do mine in two camera views. I've got my webcam that's going to be facing me blindfolded, and then I'm doing my overhead with my camcorder, and I'll kind of picture it, you know, and that's why I plan on doing that. But no, if you haven't heard what's going on, go check out Patreon the Dark's channel. He's doing a hashtag blind challenge. You can, and it's basically what it is he's trying to, it doesn't have to be a handgun, it could be a shotgun, could be a rifle, could be whatever. But he's challenging everybody to take one of your guns that you're familiar with, blindfold yourself, and video yourself. You're basically doing a field strip and going into extreme detail in describing step by step on how to do this as if you were talking to someone who is blind. And I think it's a remarkable idea to get a catalog of guns out there for the visually impaired that might need help breaking it down to clean it or whatever, doing maintenance on it, whatever the reason they need to break it down. But go ahead and have a catalog of a lot of firearms out there for the people that need to be told how to do it. So be extremely careful and extremely detailed in your audio descriptions of each gun. So go check out Patreon the Dark's channel, and he's got several of them up already, which will give you some really good suggestions or tips on how to do it. And then when you get done and you put it up there, excuse me, in the description or in the title or whatever, make sure you use two different hashtags. The first one is hashtag blind challenge. And the second one is hashtag Patriot in the Dark. And I think what he's saying, Clover, if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong about this, but if you don't do videos, then go ahead and search for those two hashtags, collect all the videos that someone else has already made, put them into a public playlist, and then put that playlist in the comments of the video. If you are going to create a video, then obviously put the link of that video inside the comments and use the hashtags. But either do a video or spread the word about the blind challenge as well. So, yeah, I look forward to doing my shield in the next 24 hours.
Yep, definitely. Now Scott out there is talking about pulling the striker and the and everything out. He said he never pulls all of that out. I noticed even the other day when I did mine, I noticed that both the plunger for the extractor and all the let's call it the extractor assembly, I guess, but and the what am I thinking? Oh, the striker assembly. I noticed that they were kind of gritty and nasty up in there. So, you know, there are times those do need to come out. And if I'm already down that far, I mean, I might as well go through that motion, I would think, in the video.
Well, and it's one of those things where we're not talking about necessarily cleaning. Also, we're talking about having to disassemble, and you might not do a full disassembly, but we're talking about a nice solid field strip, because there might be someone that needs to do some maintenance to their handgun that might need, hey, I know how to do this, but I don't know how to get to that point. Well, if we can get to that point for them and they can go step by step to get to there, yeah, and that's what I said. You know, it's not just for cleaning; it's for everyday maintenance or whatever. So,
right,
you know.
Well, I mean, what if you're out there, you're out of the range, and you pull the trigger and it goes click, but nothing happens, and you know, you feel around or whatever, and I mean, you may have like a slight divot or something on the primer, and you're like, okay, well, I've got, you know, must be some type of a striker problem or something, right? Well, so you need to replace the striker assembly or the firing pin or whatever. You're going to need to know how to take that apart.
Okay, when he's saying also is it's also a challenge for us. He's trying to give us as the creators, which I think is true. He's trying to give us ideas of how to be more detailed oriented when we're doing a review. And it's very true because until I had my podcast with him, I never really thought about me doing videos and understanding there's a whole other audience out there that I'm not even trying to reach. And it made me think a lot.
Yeah. No, doing this the other day, like I said, I enjoyed the experience, if nothing else, even if I never got a video out. I enjoyed the experience because it threw me for a complete loop.
Yeah.
It really did. And I mean, I was able to accomplish what I needed to do. But in trying to explain it as I was going along was the problem. Doing it blindfolded, that wasn't necessarily an issue. Explaining it, while I was blindfolded, that was an issue.
I hear you.
Because you're not looking at those parts and that, you know what I'm saying? And so you don't realize how much you rely on the visual stuff when you're explaining things.
Take for granted all the time. And I didn't think about, like you said, I didn't think about it until I was really having a discussion with Patriot, and I was like, wow, yeah, I take our audience for granted. I think everyone can see, everyone can hear just fine,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even explaining something like going through, because I try to do, when I do any of my stuff, regardless of whether I'm doing upgrades or it's a disassembly or whatever it is, first thing's always safety check. Remove the mag, check the chamber, you do all of that. Everything pointed in a safe direction. Well, I even had trouble with, trying to explain and say, you want to be really careful until we do this safety check. Make sure you don't get your finger around the trigger and in the trigger guard and that sort of thing. Well, how do you avoid the trigger in the trigger guard if you're trying to feel your way around?
That's right.
The pistol. You know what I mean?
And on top of that, how many times have you actually stuck your finger into the barrel to check for ammo? I don't usually. Nope. And so when your eyes are, when you're doing that blind, there's no way to visually inspect that the chamber's empty, So what do you got to do? You got to lock the slide back and stick your finger down there to make sure that there's not a round in there. I've never, I don't do that very often. So I think once again, it's kind of cool to do that inspection as well. As I'm inspecting to make sure this is a clear firearm, and I can't visually inspect it. So, that's something that I don't typically do,
Right.
But yeah, go check it out. It's a great thing. It's been 2 hours. Let's kind of start sweeping the floor and putting the chairs back on the tables. I know you're busy a man right now. And so can I go through your plugs real quick?
Yeah, this week it should be pretty interesting. Trying to think what all's coming up. I mean, there'll be a new series that will premiere this week, so be looking for that. It's a really basic series, but something that maybe you can push out to new people that you run across out there. And then Wednesday we'll have Dustin Ellerman on. Obviously, Top Shot season 3, I think. Dustin Ellerman, that guy, talking about his youth camp, marksman camp, that sort of thing. And then really don't have anything slated for the Thursday topic. Obviously Mondays is free for all, we never know, but the nothing for Thursday specific yet, so check the page, check all the scheduling for that, of course. The Friday show, at this point we're still good to go with Walther, so definitely looking forward to that. Some pretty big dogs in the house. Speaking of Walther, they got a giveaway going on, I noticed, and I think I even reposted it over on the Instagrams, so go check out the Walther Instagram. They got some kind of a giveaway over there you can get signed up for, maybe win some cool stuff. What else? Kind of getting in gear, getting a little excited, honestly, for Tulsa. And want to throw it out there that anybody interested in going, whatever, we probably need to start getting together and figuring out what we're gonna do, if we're gonna kind of all just kind of do our own thing like we have in the early days, or if we, like we did back in April, if we're going to try to have some cohesiveness to where we stay. And
we got to send a shout out to Cycle Camp, because Cycle Camp did a wonderful job trying to get everything at least organized to a certain extent, because herding rabbits is not fun.
Yeah, absolutely did well with that. And I didn't look like there's going to be that many people this year, but if you're out there, if you're interested, if you whatever, then we definitely need to get some kind of a private stream or something scheduled, and email communication, something, get together and figure some things out, because if we want to try to reserve a room block or do something, we need to get that rolling.
Yeah, no doubt.
But definitely looking forward to that either way.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm excited about your new little series coming out. Be fun. Be interesting. Any hints?
Zero artistic skills. Put it that way.
Okay, there you go. All right. Cool. No, I put Clover's website address. It's www.clovertech.com.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
That's probably for both of us. Our websites are probably, since we are literally on so many platforms now, it's almost getting absurd, honestly.
Yeah. And I've been working on my website. So I actually last night sat down and started work on an affiliates page. I talked with the patrons here a few weeks back, the patron chat that we have, about doing some different things and changing some things up, maybe making it a little more visually appealing and easier to use. So I'm going to try to do two things specifically. Well, let me back up. I'm going to try to do three things specifically. I'm going to try to take the menus where you kind of got little drop down menus now and turn those into pages where you visually can see the logos, whatever, little banner ads, whatever it might be, of affiliates, and then also what I like to call friends of the channel, which is other channels and other companies that may not necessarily be an affiliate, that sort of thing. And then also the social media links. And it actually have like dedicated pages or maybe some kind of a scrolling. I think they call it like a carousel or a slideshow, right?
Right.
Where they kind of scroll left to right or top to bottom or something like that, and kind of make things maybe a little easier to find in there. So yeah, look for those changes.
I might have to ban someone out in the chat. Just saying.
What was that? Oh, he said Whataburger sucks.
Says hashtag Whataburger sucks. Gonna have to ban you, bro. Gonna have to, it's close. I may have to get for that.
Come on.
Nah, I'll let you have it. But you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. And shame on you. Shame on you.
Yeah. That may be supper tonight. just a spite juice. That might be supper.
That's tonight. Right. And you need to go ahead and do an Instagram post with a hashtag.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What up, Juice?
Hey, Vandal coming in on the tail end. So.
Yeah, Vandal's. What's up, man? We're getting ready to get out of here like in about a minute. So, but yeah,
he's probably just getting up or something.
I was saying it's like what, 8 a.m. there or something like that. Got to be somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But no, but yeah, as far as all of our stuff, the best place to check out our websites, because we'll have links to all of our different platforms over there, whether it's audio, whether it's video, whether it's Instagram, pictures, whatever. Go check out Clover at www.clovertech.com. And for mine, it's www.ghosttacticalproductions.com. And I've had that for so long. I've always had it forwarded to the other one. But people tend to have a problem finding the .us. They always put ghosttactical.com, and it will always come back and say, hey, your website's not working. Well, it's not US. So I'm going to go ahead and start promoting it more often. Ghosttacticalproductions.com. Whether you go to there or ghosttactical.us, they go to the same place. And Vandal said it's 7:06 in the morning. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks again for watching and listening. I shouldn't say watching, because really all you're doing is watching the logo change. But thank you for listening. We had a great time. It's been in a while. It's been maybe like 6 weeks or so at least. since we've done this, and that's my fault.
We went long. We made up for it.
Yeah, we went long, but I've been crazy busy this summer, and this is kind of like my hell 2 months of the summer. But tomorrow is October 1, and it starts a whole new time of work, which I'm still pretty busy the next few weeks, but it's starting to most definitely die down, and I can't wait because then I can really kind of dive into doing this a lot more than I would. So I want to say thank you to all my patrons and all my viewers in general and supporters, but especially my patrons for kind of holding on during the summertime. It I did not like having to only put 1 or 2 things out a week for the most part, but that's life and it takes over. But thank you to all my patrons that stuck with me and supported me, knowing what I was going through. But it's getting ready to get real again, so I'm looking forward to that. So Clover, you got anything else you want to say in closing?
Yeah, a couple of things really quickly that dawned on me here. Big shout out to User out there. And he probably knows why. I won't mention it. I'll let him surprise you or whatever. But thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And I'm at 5-6 subs away from 1,800. So if you can and you would, please share some stuff. Let's get it over the 1,800 mark and get more on our way to 2,000 and potentially have a giveaway.
Yeah, congratulations, buddy.
I got tons of stuff in the prize vault. It all needs new homes, but I just need a landmark to give it away. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I'm not even sure what my
not a landmark. I guess it'd be a milestone, wouldn't it? I need a milestone to give it away.
Yeah, I'm over 15 something. I remember I didn't even realize I went over 15. It was like a couple weeks ago or a week or so ago. And until like I was looking at a video, I was like, holy crap, I'm like at 1510 or something like that. But I missed the 1,500 milestone. So yeah, let's get Clover over to 1,800, which means he's only at that point only a couple hundred away from 2,000, which is pretty awesome. So
should be there by the end of the year if the rate keeps up. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Congratulations, man. You're doing a great job. Make sure you go check out everybody that's in the chat. Make sure you go check out everybody that's, if you go to both of our pages or channels on YouTube, we have channels under the right side that we are, we try to help out and that we like ourselves. So go check them out. And we have some related channels and all sorts of stuff, but go check out the websites and get linked over to your favorite platform and all of that. So, we always thank you for listening and to continuously supporting both of us. We really couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you so much. We love all of you guys. And hopefully we get back our normal schedule, which will be in 2 weeks over on Clover's channel. But yeah, we'll continue to fight through and make sure that we're trying to get as much stuff out there to you as we can. But thanks for always supporting us and all of that. And we shall see you next time. Simplify.
Peace.